Hi. Thank you for attending today's reading. Let's begin. People laughed at him when he was planting trees in the desert. But later on everyone was amazed. Jadav Payeng is known as a forest man of India. He has spent 30 years of his life planting trees to save his island, creating a forest and restoring its wildlife. All of this began when he was just a little boy. One day the boy went to the local palmist and he prophesied that Jadav's life will take the course of nature. His story begins in 1979. After a devastating flood, he found many dead snakes on the shore. They died from the heat, since the bank was absolutely deserted, and there was not a single tree that could give them shade, and no opportunity to return back to the saving river. He wondered what it would look like if the same happened to humans. The island was being eroded very quickly. What he saw deeply shocked Jadav. He decided to change the situation and make the riverbank habitable. He first planted only 20 bamboo seedlings to see if they could take root. The bamboo took root and turned green. So Jadav continued to plant trees. He decided to live in the newly planted forest, looking after it, and planting more and more new territories around with trees. You can also watch a video here. https://www.youtube.com/channel/UCB-Futau-DANF6C8XQ. Sub_confirmation equals 1. End of story. Next story. Old memories of a weird girl I once knew. I was watching a bunch of animal videos and came across a video of a guy being friends with a bee. That reminded me of a time when I was in middle school back in 2007. There was this girl who was always hanging in the bathroom with flies in her hand. She didn't have any real friends. I was pretty much the only person who was nice to her, but I was definitely weirded out that she would kiss flies. I mean, like she was friends with flies. Literally, she held them, petted them, kiss, and them talk to them. It was really weird to watch. What amazes me the most though was that these flies would let her. These flies were not dead. They would fly around her and land on her hand, then let them be petted and kissed by her. Do flies have feeling? She also would tell me what the flies were thinking and how they were feeling, as if she was really talking to them. What do you think, Reddit? Yes, this legit happen. End of story. Next story. Karen doesn't want kids having fun on bikes in the summer. A couple of summers ago, me and my friends picked up mountain biking. It is plenty fun to find spots to build jumps and ride them. One day, we found a perfect spot. We rode there every day, had fun, and all the cars that passed by didn't mind it all. However, Karen thought otherwise. One day, as we arrived at our spot, we found Karen stomping on all of our hard work, destroying and flattening half the spot. We all went up to her. Mind you, we were all 12-year-old innocent kids at the time, and asked her to stop destroying our hard work. She then told us, "You kids are rotten. Digging in a public place like this." It was literally a tiny dirt spot beside a road. She stormed off, and when we thought it was all over, the cops came. She called the cops. They destroyed the bike jumps, and Karen got her way. Zero comments. End of story. Next story. My grandpa. My role model. My grandpa told this to me not long ago. So I went down to the shopping mall. When I look up at a building as I was walking by, I saw someone about 3 to 4 floors up. "G'day, mate," quote, I said, but no reply came. After a few minutes I come back and he's still there. "Hey mate," I say. Again no reply. At this point I think something's wrong, so I call the police. They arrive within minutes due to the proximity of the police station. The negotiator tried everything he could to get him to come down, but he didn't. I just shout something I can't remember and all of a sudden he comes down. About 18 months later I was in a clothing store and I look at one of the customers and I think, God, I know him from somewhere. And after thinking for minutes not make eye contact, we eventually pass each other and he looks up. Under his big thick hat and large trench coat, he looks right at me and says the words I'll never forget. Thanks mate. You saved me life. End of story. Next story. Why I Believe in Ghosts. 16 comments. Share Save Hide Report. 97% upvoted. End of story. Next story. I got into a fight at McDonald's. Okay, so I was 3 when this happened. I was playing in the playground. And my mom was watching me, and there was this kid who was pushing me and punching me, but his mom wouldn't do anything, and this kid was like 7 and I was 3, so then this kid punched me in the face, so I punched him back. Remember, I was 3, this kid was probably the wimpiest kid ever. So I punched him and he cried his eyes out, and my mom got mad at that kid's mom, and my mom was mad at me, and that kid's mom threatened to sue, so yeah. End of story. Next story. I almost died at the carnival. When I was younger, IDK probably 10/11ths, I went to the carnival. I was a crackhead kid, as most are. And I happened to be tall and skinny. So I'd been waiting for a few years to go on this ride. It was called the Ring of Fire. Or the Fireball. Something like that. And all they had was the over-the-shoulder straps. So I got on, and it's 2 seats facing the other 2 seats. Oh yeah, I need to include the fact that the coaster was literally a vertical ring. Just a single loop. So we get going and I'm having fun. But the ride stops at the very top of the loop. We stop there and I feel my shoulders start to slip. And I wasn't strong enough to stop them. My shoulders went all the way through, almost to where I had to let go. Just then the guy across from me, probably mid-20s or younger, reaches over and grabs the top of my head and shoved me back down into the seat. Says something along the lines of, "There ya go, buddy." I still think about that a lot. A guy saved me life and I almost died. End of story. Next story. When I learned that attending a blowout was not necessarily a good thing. 10 comments. Share. Save. Hide. Report. 98% upvoted. End of story. Next story. My dead mom adds me on Facebook. And the fam's got some explaining to do. 8 comments. Share. Save. Hide. Report. 96% upvoted. End of story. Next story. Being a good neighbor is not that difficult. We, family of 5, mom, dad, twins, girls and baby boy, lived in a 4-bedroom, 60-year-old home in a small village center, New England. This was in the mid-1980s. The house next door was a duplex converted into 4 apartments. 2 up, 2 down. This house was about 20 feet away from our home. We had never had a problem with the neighbors that was not easily solved just by talking over the fence, sharing a beer or a cup of tea. That is until Sonny moved into the apartment upstairs on our side. He was very nice, coming and going, talkative, and offered help when needed. Sonny worked second shift when he moved in and one day was telling us he got a new job and he was working daylight hours but had to get up at 4 a.m. to get to his job by 6 a.m. Well, Sonny had a clock radio alarm. His bedroom was right next to the twins' bedroom and ours was on that side too. He put his clock radio on the windowsill. He tuned it to WAAF, Worcester, Massachusetts. He had it at full volume. He got up, Took a shower. Late for work. Radio blaring on the window. Husband call the cops. Cops came. His door was unlocked. Cop entered bedroom. Yanked a plug. Oh sweet science. The next day same thing. Someone else called the cops. Cop shows up, kills radio. I wait for Sonny to come home from work that day and explain to him about his radio at 4:30 a.m. and that the cops were called. He apologized and said he would not do it again. Thank you, I said. The next morning the radio went off. Yes, it was on the window sill. Yes, he went and took a shower leaving the thing at max level, and yes, some call the cops. Cops quelled the noise. I had had enough. That day I hooked the hose to the spigot on that side of the house. Tied a rope to the foot of one of the twins' beds. Threw it out the window. Tied it to the hose. Before we went to bed I turned on the water ad, made sure the gun nozzle was not leaking and went to bed. 4:30 a.m. Led Zeppelin. Full blast. 10 minutes go by. No silence. I got up. Went to the girl's bedroom. Whipped up the screen. Hoisted up the hose and took care of the radio. His bed. His pillow and any other thing in that room. Never heard music from there again. Sonny found an apartment closer to his new job and he apologized for being a bad neighbor. No hard feelings. I met him over this past summer. He was buying groceries for his elderly parents and we had a hug and shot the shit for a few, and he brought up the hosing I had given his radio. We had a good laugh and hope to run into each other again. By the way, I am a rotten speller. I didn't have a typing class 50 years ago and I have a corgi on my lap. In my recliner typing. I do the best I can. Peace. End of story. That is all for today. If you want to support my automated channel, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. See you tomorrow.